Good morning, dear listeners. Let me introduce myself. So my full name is Ruzieva Sitoras Rorona. I work at the Samarkand State University named after Sharof Rashidov. I work at the English chair as an English teacher. So my subject is English literature of the 20th century. That is devoted, my presentation is devoted to my students. So dear listeners, pay attention. I'm going to talk with you about the literature. First of all, we'll speak about literary genres, then about the literature. So what is it? What is the literature itself? Literature is a combination of the words and the books and writings written by author. What does the author do usually in order to achieve their goals? First of all, they will try to show their feelings and inner conditions. Now we'll turn to the literary genre. What is a literary genre? What is a genre itself? Genre is a particular style or type of writing. We'll turn to this. What is the genres of the literature do we know, and according to what criteria that can be divided? So genres of the literature is a classification of literature based on the form, content and style. So there are four main types of the literature. They are drama, fiction, non-fiction, and poetry. We'll turn by turn watch the usage of them. So what is a drama itself? Drama, it is a special type of the narration which will be used and which is be put on the performance or a science. They are characters, the narrations, the act of the science. This is the main part of the drama. We'll turn to the type of the drama. Drama can be divided into two. They are a comedy and tragedy. What is a comedy itself? With simple words, we can explain that the comedy, it is with happy ends. The special narrations, which can be ended with happiness. And what is tragedy? Tragedy, it is a special type of the drama which can be ended with very sad event or situation. We'll turn to our next type of the genres. They are fiction and non-fiction. We'll turn by turn look through their types. What is the first fiction? The first fiction is fables, folk tales and fairy tales. We'll turn their fantasy and mystery, myths and legends, historical fiction, realistic fiction, drama, poetry and science fiction. So we'll turn to the fiction itself. Writing that tells about imaginary people and events, stories that are made up but not in real life. We'll turn to our next example. That is a fantasy. What is a fantasy itself? Fantasy, as we said previously, it is the imaginary. So pay attention to this. Here is given exact examples, which is a famous and we can say an well-known god of rings, or we can say the king of rings. It's the main example of the fantasy. We'll turn to the next part. This is a historical fiction. Historical fiction, it's the form of the fiction which is not true, as we said, but it is somehow connected with a history, authentic settings, and we can say characters portrayed in a realistic manner. And here is the exact examples of the historical fiction. We'll turn to the science fiction. Now you see, living in the 21st century, if you don't know science fiction, you look and use everything. So pay attention here. The science fiction is a fiction which is not true. As we said, that is connected with outer space, medicine and technology. We'll turn. What is the outspace? Here is the main example, which is a famous film about the Star Wars trilogy. You see, it is a main example of the science fiction. We'll turn to our next part. This is a horror and mystery. So what is it? From the name it's shown and from the picture you can see, like a horror, it means the fiction which evokes our feelings and fights in the both characters and the reader. After reading this type of the fiction, you can feel yourself like in a horror. This will be the main example of the horror. We'll turn to the next part. This is the realistic fiction. What is it itself? So the stories that could actually happen in real life. this is, we can say, the connection of our past with future. We can say that setting is realistic. And you see here is the main examples of this, but they are Hose by Louis Saker, Because of Winn-Dixie, it's by Camellia, and etc. All of them are connected with the 21st literature's example. Let's will turn to the fable. Fable, we can translate in Uzbek like a doston, so pay attention. What is it? It's the short story, usually with animal characters, that teaches a lesson about what is important in our life. So Aesop's fables, it is a great example of the fable. Let's will turn to talk about the folk tale. What is a folk tale? Again, with examples, as you see, here is given story told generation to generation, usually word by word. It means because of the revolution, because of the evolution, these types of the tale can affect to our mind. And word by word, it can be passed to our future generation in order to connect the past with future. So sometimes different versions in different cultures can be used. And sometimes it can involve animals, wishes, and magic trickery, and often the numbers also. Let's turn to the next one. This is a myth. We can translate in Uzbek language like a myth, afsonalar. What is it itself? So myths, it's here is given the Greek myths. It's a great example of this direction, of this fiction. So myths are early people's way to explain the universe. Yes, that's, first of all, they connect the gods mostly with the goddess and present in myths. The gods and goddesses is the heroes in the superhuman in nature. Let's turn to the next one. This is the legends. Let's turn to the legend. It is a form of fiction which is not true again. Stories written about the real lives of the heroes or the characters and what they should be doing, what they can might deeds. This is a great example of the legend. Let's turn to the other part. So mix of fiction and historical facts that have been creatively entered to encourage moral conduct and right choices. Here is a given examples. For example, urban legends by debunking spiritual myths. This is a great example of the legend. Let's turn to the next one. This is a fairy tales, which is a very famous and which is very interesting to our young generation. We'll speak about the fairy tales, which is very interesting, and if you pay attention, even the elder generation can watch these fairy tales and can read these fairy tales with great interest. What is it? It is often begins once upon a time. So let's turn about the non-fiction of the genre. What is it itself? Non-fiction, we can say it is a real situation, real people's life, which can be only according to the facts. So they are, the main thing is a fact. But in somehow you have to pay attention that the fact, it's a not fiction, because it's a fact is not connected with a human's real life. Let's turn to our next slide. The first example of the non-fiction is biography. So biographical masterpieces can be the best example of the non-fiction. What is biography? Biography, it is a special people's narration from the third people. It means you will not write your own biography, but someone will write in place of you. For example, with a great example, we can say Oybek's masterpiece connected with the Alisher Navai. This is an example of the biography. Or if we will turn to our English literature, here is, for example, Babe Ruth, which is written the life behind the legend, or for example, His Excellency, which was written by about the George Washington's life, which was written by Joseph B. Ellis. Let's speak about the autobiography. What is autobiography itself? Autobiography, when you will write your by simple words, we can say when you will write your own life, when you own periods of your life, your inner conditions, this will be autobiography. For example, we can say the books that people write about their own life, written in the first person point of view. For example, I, me, and etc. Let's turn to the informal writing. So you see, informal writing, it's also important in the literary genres. They are the texts that provide facts about variety of topics, for example, sports, animals, science, history, career, travel, and etc. So this is given the exact fact. That also will be the fact, but also the one part of the non-fiction genre. Now, dear students, dear audience, I'm going to give you some tasks. So, dear students, now you have to do and you have to check your relevant tasks by using, you see, prepared versions. Here is given the examples, 8 examples. So you have to find the name of the genre of each selection and you have to write to me, please. So the first one, we'll check a book titled How to Be the Best Gardener. What the genre is it? The next one, a novel about a boy who grows up in the city and learns about life and the hard way. A book titled All About My Life, and etc. So you can use all these types. So dear participants, dear audience, dear students, I hope that you understand my explanation. I'll try to do my best to give you any further and useful information on your benefit. Take care of yourself, be always healthy, goodbye.